This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
This podcast is brought to you by Coral, and they're here for the fans. At the Fan Network, we have a mission to shake up the game we all love, and that's why we partnered with Coral, who've been shaking things up too. With their free-to-play rewards shaker, there are guaranteed rewards and exclusive offers to be won every single day. Whether you're a part of the Badging Brigade, the Away Dayers, or the Football Fashionistas, Coral's here for the fans. Play Coral's reward shaker and win bigger guaranteed daily rewards and offers this season. For over 18s only, maximum one reward or offer per player per day. Reward restrictions and requirements and other T's and C's apply. Visit gambleaware.org for more details.
This podcast is sponsored by AMG Logistics and in association with the Birmingham City Official Supporters Clubs. I'm your host Craig Courtney, and we're looking forward to the next Blues game and finding out what our opposition fans think. Sit tight and enjoy the next edition of The Away End. What can I say? We're back. We're up, we're running, and after the FA Cup, we can finally go back into some league football. Birmingham, unfortunately, at the weekend, suffered the defeat against Leeds. However, it was on penalties, so at the end of the day, I still classed that as a draw. We ended up coming away after really good results, played really well, fought to the very end. However, just couldn't get it over the line. Fifth round, we'll wait again until next season and see what happens. However, we are joined this evening by some Norwich fans, and strangely, Norwich get through the fourth round of the FA Cup and then draw Leeds at Ellen Road. So they'll be looking forward to an away trip in the fifth round. We played 120 minutes. We took penalties. We were shattered. However, we continue and we look forward to the next 90 minutes in what has been a really, really enjoyable season in the Championship. We go to Carrow Road off the back of 3 wins and 2 draws in the last 5 games and 2 away wins, which we can say as a Birmingham fan is really unusual to hear. But we continue that momentum and hopefully push on towards that final playoff spot. Norwich, though, have had a huge turnaround in terms of their performances and results. Since Philip Clement has come into the club, it's fair to say there has been a total turnaround in the performances. The run sees them at the moment with 4 wins and just 1 loss in the last 5 games and scoring goals for fun. After the weekend, and they knocked out West Brom, 3-1 result again. Can goals continue to flow? This time at Carrow Road, though, it's going to be different. I'm joined this evening by Jez and Morgan from Beyond the Barclay podcast. So, guys, thank you very much for joining us on the away end. Really looking forward to hearing about Norwich now in comparison to the last time we played. So, first of all, what we can say is in regards to the games, it's been tight over the years. Birmingham won 25, drawn 23, but have lost 30. So, it's a bit of a wayward approach when it comes to the games against Norwich. And in fact, in the last 5 games, 3 losses and just 2 wins. The 2 last games actually being the wins. The last time we played was in November, a 4-1 win for Birmingham. However, at that point in time, I think a totally different Norwich side to what we can expect now.
A fairly decent reputation. He was quite heralded as a upcoming English coach, and so I'd like to think that I was fairly optimistic, but things went south pretty quickly, and I won't go into too much detail because it's boring, but I'd quite comfortably say one of the worst coaches we've ever had, Jez. But we've just actually finished up a podcast ourselves with a Birmingham fan, so it's sort of like repeating ourselves a bit. But he, in his personal life, suffered quite a tragedy in terms of a child loss, and I think that really did affect him in terms of his ability to coach and manage the stress well. And I think, he came across as a decent guy and wanted the best of from being a head coach and from Norwich, because he's from Norwich actually himself. So on a Norwich side of the coin, like podcast wise, this has been done to death, but it just gives your fans context as to where we've come from.
Yeah.
So I'll pass over to Jez, who can pick up from I guess post Manning.
Yes, I mean Manning was removed from his position quite rightly, given what had happened before that. We rocked up at Blues Birmingham with a new manager, Mr. Philippe Clement, Belgian, managed some of the biggest clubs in Europe, Glasgow Rangers, Club Brugge, Monaco, won quite a few trophies, and I think everyone was really shocked because it was about a 24-hour from rumour to him being announced as manager, so it sort of come out of nowhere. Really surprised. Could he get a tune out of the players that Manning quite clearly couldn't? Yes, we did lose the first game 4-1, but it was very, very much of the fitness side of things where the players weren't fit enough, essentially. So he highlighted that very quickly and set to work to make sure that he got the team fit. And from that game to if we look back at the Blackburn game, which was our last league game, I think the players could have run for another 20 minutes and still would have been physically fit to do that. But it's just improved every single aspect of not only the team but the club. So you look at the backroom staff. You look at actually some aspects of other things, like there was protests outside the ground in October, and you don't see that now because of just how unified the team are with the fans. And he's done that. Yep. And you got players like Rory McConville, who wasn't getting a look in under Manning, and he's played every single game pretty much under Clement and has looked really good. Pelle Matson. There's Magoma, who we brought in the window's good. Just Cordoba. Them two have built up a really good centre back pairing, and we look solid. We also seem to be scoring a lot more goals now. We're top of the form table at the moment, and everything's quite rosy at the moment. And we're really pleased with him.
I think the thing that I've noticed is he sets up a very driven side, I suppose, is the best way to describe it. And it's very similar to what you saw at Rangers, for example, when he was playing on a shoestring, but was managing to pull the best out of every player that he had within the squad. Yeah. But also the physicality of the way that he plays is also something that is a credit to his style at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. Is it fair to say, obviously, you mentioned there that the first game was at St Andrews. Is it fair to say that since then things have progressed on every possible stance?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And what do you think the biggest change has been?
As I say, I think the unity between the players and the fans, and on the pitch, I think we press a lot higher. As you said, we're very physical, so we've got that midfield engine room, if you like, of Kenny McLean and Matson. Unfortunately, Matson's injured now, so we've got either Wright or Sam Field that fill that with Sam Field we bought from QPR, and he wasn't getting a game there, and he's fitted, he's slotted in really well. So, and we count the way that we counter attack teams is very, very positive as well. And I mean, we've got a player called Anis Ben Slimani, who's, again, since he's arrived at the club, hasn't really looked very good at all. But actually, in the last, since the turn of the year, actually, he's assisted, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 goals and scored 3 or 4. So it's incredible what the guys achieved there.
And do you put that down just to the fact of the change of the style, or do you think actually it's always been there? It's just there's never been that person to kind of draw it out of the players.
I think that's a fair comment. I think it is that. I think it's the fact that the quality has always been there, but it just hasn't. They haven't sort of been able to manifest it out of the players because of, for whatever reason, whether it's the coaching or whether it's the players aren't physically ready or mentally ready. But Clement's got him there. He's got him there to for however he's done it. He's just a fantastic man manager. I think he's clearly got a plan for every single game. But the players respect him, and I think that respect is then repaid by the players when they're going out and putting the performances that they're doing.
And I think it's fair to say, I can hear it in your voice, that he's also won you as fans over.
Oh, yeah.
With his style of play and the way things are structured. So I think it's, it sounds as though you're very much on the up. You've mentioned the physicality, you've mentioned the goals, but I've got to say at the moment, seems to be scoring goals for fun. So tell us a little bit about what's changed in the squad since we last played. Obviously the transfer window we've had, and both clubs, I think it is fair to say, had a phenomenal window. Whilst Birmingham might have splashed the cash a little bit, Norwich have brought in players that have strengthened what was already on the up.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit more about Norwich now and ultimately what can we expect on Saturday?
Yes, I mean, you're right. I mean, the January transfer window was, whilst we didn't bring in loads of players, it was a very sort of considered and calculated transfer window. So we brought in Paris Magoma from Brentford, number 10, Sam Field from QPR, and then you've got the Ali Ahmed, who was playing against Messi in the MLS final a couple of months ago. Mo Toure, that scored 5 goals in 3 games since his arrival. I still think I'm missing one, but maybe I'm not. But those players have all come in and, Harry Amas that we bought from Sheffield Wednesday, but unfortunately, he's from Man United, but he was on loan at Sheffield Wednesday previously. But unfortunately, he went, story of our season, he went down injured in the first game. So, Morgan's back. So yeah, obviously he's not really in this sort of scenario, but I think those players have embedded themselves in the squads that have also improved. But the way that he plays, the Clements system, if you like, they've all adapted to it. They're all on board with it, and you can tell how unified they are with just how they're playing. And I think we look back at the days of Daniel Farker, who you would have seen on Saturday against Leeds, was one of our, if not one of our, probably our better managers we've ever had, or certainly since I've watched Norwich. And his standard of football was superb, and we're getting very close to that feeling now as to what it was previously.
And Morgan I was just saying to Jez, since the last time we played, what did he feel as though the differences were and people that had come in? So what about yourself? I suppose you're going to say very similar, but who's stood out for you, not only in the transfer window that's just happened, but leading up to that?
I think, the uptick's been insane since Clement's taken over. I would say, obviously we've got a striker called Mohamed Toure, who's just scored like 5 goals in 3 games, so he's on starting on a hot streak. A defensive midfielder called Pell Matson, who unfortunately is injured, which is the story of our season, it seems to be. But he was really shaping up to be a DM that we so desperately needed. Ali Ahmed and Paris Magoma, who has just started again. Purchases in the January transfer window just seem to have clicked. So, players that have kind of started to really grow into a positive attacking tactics. Whereas before, again, under Manning, it was very much about possession-based football for possession's sake. And I think we struggled to generate any kind of forward play. A lot of the passing was back, sideways, and players weren't making those runs into pockets of space when it was opened up. And it's a completely different side in terms of their mentality now. And it's something that we haven't seen since the days of Daniel Farker back in, the 2021 season. So it's night and day, and I'm very skeptical as a person when it comes to stuff like this, because I like to stay grounded. But Clement's a classy guy. He just he oozes confidence. The way he deals with the press, the way he's got the players on side. We were second from bottom. Roll the clock back to October. We were nailed on candidates for relegation, and now we're at top of the form table. So it's been a massive turnaround, and I think this game against Birmingham will be a litmus test for Norwich in terms of whether they can go, whether they can go toe to toe with teams like yourselves and try and get a positive result.
And I think one thing I'm going to say is we've got two teams on form in the league, and two teams that arguably, can beat anybody. I think in this league at the moment, it's extremely open. We know from the results again that things are also incredibly tight. I don't think you can call it from a who's going to win the league, who's going to be second, and I don't,
This podcast is brought to you by Coral, and they're here for the fans. At the Fan Network, we have a mission to shake up the game we all love, and that's why we partnered with Coral, who've been shaking things up too. With their free-to-play reward shaker, there are guaranteed rewards and exclusive offers to be won every single day. Whether you're a part of the Badging Brigade, the Away Dayers, or the Football Fashionistas, Coral's here for the fans. Play Coral's reward shaker and win bigger guaranteed daily rewards and offers this season. For over 18s only, maximum one reward or offer per player per day. Reward restrictions and requirements and other T's and C's apply. Visit gambleaware.org for more details.
If you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or personal loans, help is here. More and more Americans turn to credit cards to get by. National Debt Relief is helping qualified clients reduce what they owe. For many, continuing to struggle, making minimum monthly payments could take years to pay off. National Debt Relief has already helped over 550,000 Americans reduce their debt by negotiating directly with their creditors. When you call, you'll be amazed at how much you can save and how quickly you can become debt-free. If you want off the debt treadmill, visit nationaldebtrelief.com today. You don't need to declare bankruptcy, and you may qualify for significant debt relief. To find out what savings you may qualify for, simply visit nationaldebtrelief.com. That's nationaldebtrelief.com.
Third and fourth look pretty steady, but fifth and sixth for me is still very open and opportunities there to slip into it. So on your run of form and the way things are, and I know, Jez, we spoke about this on Talk Sport, but playoffs, can you do it?
No, because I just think we spent a lot of too many months floundering around prior to Clement coming on. I think I'm going to again be a realist and say that my main aim, or what I'd like to see this season, is to not get relegated. Because I mean, I know that we're top of form table, but we've also got an incredible injury list. And you lose 3 more players in that injury list, and we're starting to have to draft in under 21s. And, then things start to look a little bit bleaker. And I'm not being negative. I'm just trying to temper my own expectations. I'd love to be in, push up for the playoffs. But for me, it's consolidation and gradual progress rather than anything else. And I know that that's probably not what you want to hear on a podcast. You want some sensationalism, but you've come to the wrong place with me and Jez. But yeah, Jez, did you want to say something?
I mean, I'll repeat what I said earlier to you, Craig. I think we've left it too late, but B, I don't think we're ready for it. So I think it's possible. Whilst it's still mathematically possible, who knows? And I'm not saying if we got to Wembley in May, and I wouldn't turn it down. But I think it's I'll be happy with mid-table and go again next season with a full season under Mr. Clement.
And I think, I've got to say, Birmingham fans, start of the season, we're all very optimistic. We go, the double bank is achievable, and everybody was looking at it. And the bookies were even, I think the bookies had us as third favourites.
Yeah.
but this division is a completely different beast. It's it's not this. We're going to go out and people will just roll over type of league, which is what we as Birmingham fans saw last season. We were very, very lucky.
Yeah.
But it is still open. So I think, any team can beat each other on the day. It's all very, very tight, and it's going to be an interesting second half of the season because there's always teams that go on runs that end up getting in those playoff spots. There are teams that think they're high flying and then fall away.
Yeah.
Who knows this season who it's actually going to be.
Yeah.
So coming down to Carrow Road, we've got another sellout away following. A record that I think, I've got to say from a Birmingham perspective, not seeing it to this level for a very long time, where we can say every away game is a sellout, and our home attendances are up as well. So what can we expect from Philip Clement's side on Saturday? So what formation do you generally start with, and where's your strengths? And I've got to say, where's your weaknesses?
So he will
Yes, you
always
can take this one because I actually can't hear you talking. So
really, that's a shame. Well, it's probably not a shame actually. It's probably a blessing.
I have no idea what he's saying. He can say anything.
I could be saying anything
But
about him.
I can hear you, Craig, but I can't hear Jez, which is a relief because I have to put up with him more or less every single day of the week. So
it's amazing how tuned we are. Yeah, it's amazing how in tune we are because I just literally said word for word tonight. It was a blessing, and then he's commented that. Anyway, 4-2-3-1. So again, under Manning, it was very different. It was free at the back, and it just didn't suit the Norwich way. And I think he's coming in. He plays a way that does suit us, and the way that we play, it's very much pressing from the front. So you expect the goalkeeper and the centre backs, full backs to be put under a bit of pressure. The midfield too will just sit there and sweep everything up, and get in the way to put some decent tackles in, and then obviously recycle that possession to the wings. The strengths, I would say, are from the wings of Ali Ahmed. If he starts with Slimani, he will find the space and find the gaps to put it through to probably Toure, that's going to play up front and has got pace. So I think there are probably our strength. And again, the centre-back pairing of Cordoba and McConville have built up a really good relationship. So I think that's a good point. He's managed to, despite our injury woes, he's actually been able to keep the back four and goalkeeper the same for quite a lot of the time, which obviously builds familiarity. In terms of weaknesses, I think the goalkeeper will make some fantastic saves. It's Vladan Kovacevic is the goalkeeper, and he'll make some. And it's only taken me half a season to actually master his name, by the way.
I was going to say, I'm quite impressed that you could say it.
Yeah. It's only taken me half a season. Before that, I was coming out with some shockers. But he will make some fantastic saves, and probably the best one I've ever seen at Wrexham when I went there. But equally, he's not great on crosses. He's not great on corners. So if you guys do put in some decent corners and free kicks in general, then you could get some joy from that. But I mean, other than that, I mean, the left back Crescene has actually played really well recently, but he's got the occasional sort of I wouldn't want to use the word clanger, but sometimes gets caught out of position. So that the left hand side could be of bringing a little bit of fruition to you. But as I say, the plan's clear, and he's certainly living up to it at the moment with how we're playing. But who knows what's around the corner? What about yourselves?
I think, I mean, at the moment, it's interesting you say that about goalkeeper not being not saying not being too good, but having mistakes in them, because we've got exactly the same in Beadle. He has been our starter in the squad now on a consistent basis. However, against Leeds, Ryan Alsop came back into goal, and it was, Ryan Allsop has an ability which most clubs would love their goalkeeper to be able to do, and that is he can spring a pass as though he is playing in central midfield.
Yeah.
He whips balls across, every angle on the pitch, and 95% of the time they're pinpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going to be interesting is whether Davis sticks with Beadle, or actually we do see Allsop coming in to the team on Saturday. Defensive wise, it's down at the moment as obviously Clara is there as our club captain, and he's the centre half that people almost sometimes love to have a good go at. He's the type of defender that will put his foot in. He'll want to win the tackles, but he's also great in the air. He's been playing alongside Neumann, and we've seen a good partnership forming. However, Panzo came in again at the weekend, and that was his starting game. I thought actually he was pretty solid. So, not too sure how to call the defensive centres at the moment. From a left and right back perspective, I mean, Wagner, wow. You mentioned about your player being up against Messi in the MLS. Well, Wagner's coming from the MLS, and he has just been on fire since he came through the door. And he's actually, I would say, arguably he's our signing of the window so far. But not just that. I mean, if he carries on the way that he is, he'd have been here for half a season and he'll win player of the season.
Yeah.
So on the wings, we've got attacking prowess and players that can swap around. We've actually got wingers that we can swap now, and they're of equal strength. So, we've got Damari Gray. We've got on the opposite side, we've got Roberts, and we've got Vincente. So these guys are, just beginning to gel. Damari Gray just coming back from injury.
Yeah.
And then when we're talking about, the centre partnership, John Solis, what a find he has been. From a midfield perspective, he is an absolute, I call him a ratter, because he is just in after absolutely everything. Yeah. He'll put his foot in, but he can spring a great pass. He seems really confident on the ball. And yeah, he is a really good finding.
Where'd you get him from, Craig?
At the moment. He's come from Spain, but he's on loan with a view to a permanent move. Based on, I think, numbers of performances and stuff that he actually is putting in.
Amazing.
And then strikers, we're talking about Marvin Duksh has been starting games. Away from home, though, he's a different player. So it's a real strange one. When you watch him playing at home, you think to yourself, he is a force no matter where he goes. But actually, when he's away from home, he's very inconsistent. And of course, Stansfield,
yeah,
the guy is just an absolute workhorse and runs and runs and runs. And 120 minutes against Leeds, and he didn't look out of breath. Went up, stepped up, took the penalty as calm as anything. So. Those areas, I think, for me, when you talk about our strengths, they are going to be that midfield and going forwards perspective, because there are danger and there's goals in all of them. But again, Chris Davis likes to swap things about. Very rare that we see a completely settled side. So, could I name the 11 now based on other performances? Probably not. But it'll be interesting to see what he does, and he wants to maintain this away form as well. So it should be good.
Yeah, 100%. It should be a good game. Are you going, Craig?
Unfortunately, no. I couldn't get tickets. It's like we've got the away scheme at Birmingham, and it's like if it gets below what they class as a silver member, you're really lucky. This one did get just below, but unfortunately, I missed out. I've only ever actually been to Carrow Road once, and I do enjoy coming down because I've got family that live in Great Yarmouth, so it's nice to catch up with them as well. Um,
nice.
So, but no, I shall be keeping tabs and hopefully watching it on Blues TV. So
Nice.
it's going to be good, though. It's going to be good.
Yeah, it will be.
Got a bit of a challenge for the pair of you.
Just before you do that, Craig, can I just make a quick comment? We've just signed up.
We love a challenge or a random question, don't we, Jess?
He can't hear what I'm saying. So I could actually say anything about Morgan now until he listens back. He ain't going to know.
I can't hear him.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
What's he saying, Craig?
I call him the sexiest man in Dereham because he's a quiff. Look at that amazing quiff he's got. So it's that. No, anyway, so we've just signed up with the Freemason Arms pub in Norwich, and away fans are welcome. If they are subscribers of Beyond the Barclay, you do get 10% off any food or drink that you are able to purchase at the Freemason Arms pub in Norwich, which is on Hall Road. So it's the Carrow Road side of Hall Road. It's about I'd say probably about a 15-minute walk to the ground, 10-15-minute walk to the ground from there. So if there are any Blues fans that do want to head down there, away fans are more than welcome to attend as well. I've been reliably informed. So please do take advantage.
Also, it's normally a question I ask at the end, so you've beat me to it.
Oh, there you go.
I'm impressed. Mind readers, great minds and all that business.
There you go.
Right, so the challenge for you both. So I like to look at the stats of the games that have been played between the two clubs. Now, there's a really interesting one in that the top goal scorer or goal scorers, to give you a hint, across the games that have happened between the clubs over the past, probably 30 years, if not more. There's two of them that actually are top goal scorers for both Norwich and for Birmingham and have scored 4 goals each across those games. So I'm just wondering, do you reckon you can name them?
But they played for both teams, do you mean?
Nathan Redmond.
Played for not Nathan Redmond, no.
But so hang on, Craig. So it's they've both played for both teams.
Played for both teams.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Cameron Jerome.
That's a shout.
That is one of them, Morgan. That is a great shout. Great shout.
Yeah.
I am going to. By the way, I will be majorly impressed if you get the other one, because I believe that he would have been probably before both of your times in terms of going to the games.
Give us a clue. What year?
We're talking 80s.
Oh, wow. Yeah, way before.
Yeah. He's a centre forward, I can tell you. And we ain't giving away too much more. K is his first initial.
If you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or personal loans, help is here. More and more Americans turn to credit cards to get by. National Debt Relief is helping qualified clients reduce what they owe. For many, continuing to struggle making minimum monthly payments could take years to pay off. National Debt Relief has already helped over 550,000 Americans reduce their debt by negotiating directly with their creditors. When you call, you'll be amazed at how much you can save and how quickly you can become debt-free. If you want off the debt treadmill, visit nationaldebtrelief.com today. You don't need to declare bankruptcy, and you may qualify for significant debt relief. To find out what savings you may qualify for, simply visit nationaldebtrelief.com. That's nationaldebtrelief.com.
Oh. So the first initial is his first name?
First initial of the first name is K.
Oh. Trying to think of the strikers around that time.
And whilst you're thinking about those, I can tell you that it's actually been really close in terms of the overall goal scorers and the top goal scorers, because the next 3 were all scoring 3 goals each. So
it keeps someone.
The 2 Birmingham ones, Tommy Mooney and Jonathan Hunt. Who do you think scored the 3 goals for Norwich? I think it was a left winger.
Not Darren Eady. Darren Huckabee.
No.
Oh, I do like a challenge.
All I can say is,
40?
there's one of them not too far away from who you're looking at this present moment. That's a really tedious clue, though. I'm going to say that's not the best one I could give.
Oh,
Jez is usually good with this kind of thing.
yeah, I am. Yeah, yeah. Jeremy Goss.
He's like got an encyclopedic knowledge, but
no,
I can tell you that the surname for both of them, their surnames both begin with B.
And they've scored 3 goals.
Yeah, well, the first one scored 4, the second one scored 3. So
Kevin Beattie. Kevin Beattie was Ipswich, wasn't he? Shows my knowledge of 80s football.
Mark Bowen? No.
Keith Bernstein. Go on.
Who was that, sorry?
Keith Bernstein.
It is indeed. Keith Bertram, yep. He was the top goal scorer. And your other one, you will kick yourselves with this one because it was Craig Bellamy.
Oh, of course, yeah. Bellas.
Oh.
And I tell you what, Craig Bellamy was the bane of all evil for Birmingham. You used to hate watching him because you could always bank on the fact he was going to have an absolute blinder. And, we mentioned Cam Jerome, right? But Cam Jerome was he was loved by many at St Andrews and hated by others. And I never have understood the animosity towards him because he was a bit of a workhorse.
Yeah.
He was never a prolific goal scorer, but he had an engine that just carried on and on and on and on, and still scored one of the best goals I think you will ever see at Anfield when he had an absolute screamer against
I remember it. It was a great goal.
Me and Jez have been trying to track him down to get him on the podcast because he had a great time spell at Norwich as well. A big fan of Cameron Jerome. He's one of my favourite strikers for Norwich, and I know he was only with us for a few seasons, but he was just such a professional, but seemed like carried himself really well in interviews, and as you said, like a proper workhorse, proper gentleman footballer, great player, really good player. 100%. Really glad that I got to see him at Norwich. So yeah, great player.
Well, the good news is Cameron Jerome was a guest on Tilton Talk, and I may happen to have his contact details. So if you let us have 3 points, I'll pass them on.
You need it. I was going to say you need it more than us, but I don't think you do. I think you guys are doing well. So we'll see. I suppose draw will be a good result, won't it?
We come to that final point of the show where I have to say to you both, what's the result going to be, and what does your heart say it will be, and what does your head say it will be? And I think, Morgan, because Jez said you were the total sexy beast with the ultimate quiff, I'm going to start off by asking you.
Thing is, I can't hear what Jez says, so I'll probably say. I said this on a podcast earlier. I'm going to stand by it. 2-1 to Norwich, just because of us being top of the form table at the moment. But I don't think it will be an easy game, and I'm going to it as well. So it will make me sweat.
Jez, what about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm going to be. Heart says 4-0 Norwich. I'm joking. No, I think if we get I agree with Morgan. I think if it's 2-3-1, I'd be delighted. But I actually do think it'll be a draw. So I think it'll be something like a 1-0 or a 2-0. We have been quite tight at the back, but then so have you. So yeah, maybe a 1-0. I don't think it'll be 0-0. I think there'll be a couple of goals at least. So yeah, 1-0 for me.
And I've got to say, my prediction, I've stuck by it since the beginning of the week when we did our show, and it's in my predictor league as well, which is I think it'll be 1-1. I can see two teams having a solid game. Neither of them wanted to lose and wanted to maintain the runs that we're both on. So I'm going to stick with the 1-1. And while some people will think that's boring, to me, that's still a good result away from home. And hopefully another point gained. So, Morgan, Jez, thank you very much indeed for joining us on the away end. We are sponsored by AMG Logistics and in association with the Birmingham City Official Supporters Clubs, details of which you can find on www.bcfcosc.com. Have a look for your local club. We have got fans from the East Anglia area, actually, that will be at the game. So good luck to those guys and enjoy your day. Thank you very much again for joining, and we'll speak soon. And I'll sign off, as always, by saying, keep right on. Cheers.
On the Wall City.
Thank you.
This podcast is brought to you by Coral, and they're here for the fans. At the Fan Network, we have a mission to shake up the game we all love, and that's why we partnered with Coral, who've been shaking things up too. With their free-to-play reward shaker, there are guaranteed rewards and exclusive offers to be won every single day. Whether you're a part of the Badging Brigade, the Away Dayers, or the Football Fashionistas, Coral's here for the fans. Play Coral's reward shaker and win bigger guaranteed daily rewards and offers this season. For over 18s only, maximum one reward or offer per player per day. Reward restrictions and requirements and other T's and C's apply. Visit gambleaware.org for more details.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.